And good morning, and welcome. I'm David Boles. This is Boles.tv, Boles.TV. And I'm talking a little strange today and looking in a strange, different way because I'm testing to see if our closed captions are working. And oh my gosh, they are. I just can't believe it. Jana Marie, can you see me? Can you read my words, Jana Marie? And as Jana Marie gets ready to go, we're a little late today because I've made some changes in this stream. Oh, but there's Jana Marie, sweetheart. Yes, she can read the captions. Woohoo! I'm going to tell you a story about that in just a minute. Very interesting ideas. So I changed a lot of things yesterday and early this morning. Couldn't sleep last night because I said there has to be a way that I can enable closed captions for this live stream. We have a lot of deaf friends, hard of hearing friends, New York, Midwest, California, and they're left out of my part of the show. When Jana Marie is here, they're in. They're involved. It's ASL. It's hardcore ASL. It is Jana Marie, sweetheart, on Fridays at 10:15 and Saturdays and Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern. And our stream here with you every day is 9 a.m. Eastern. And I was late because my beloved music was misbehaving. It was very, very, very loud. Now, I've added some things since we last spoke. I've added the captions, but I can't imagine that would interfere with the music. There's Dora. She's with us. And I've also added a new feature. Dora, you'll have to tell us if you can see the captions. You can turn them off if you don't like them. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But I have this new feature where I can pin what somebody says in chat. So I'm going to pin this right now. Boing. Jana Marie, can you read me in closed captions? And that's what I said in chat. That's from me. And it will stay there until I unpin the message. So this is great. And it's especially great for the Jana Marie when she's teaching on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, ASL, talking about things. She can type in something like, she, not just a chat person, but she, now I'll talk about autism and the deaf and cochlear implants. And she can send that chat. Okay, we're pretending that's from Jana Marie, sweetheart. And it's there, and it disappears after a moment, because that's the way chat works, if you're doing it right. Okay, so it disappears, and she's giving a 10-minute lecture on autism and cochlear implants, and somebody comes in a little bit late to class, our online live streaming class. So when she starts talking about it, she pins it. This is what we're talking about right now, right here. Not now, but if, Jana Marie. Now I'll talk about autism and deaf, and so you know what she's talking about. And she doesn't have to keep typing it. And sometimes you put up artist Dora. Good morning, I don't say anything. There's Jana Marie. Oop, let's pin this one from Dora because it's going to disappear. I see it, the closed captions, I believe. I had to turn it on. That's interesting. I'll need to see it on iPad. Fascinating. I'm fascinated by the whole thing. Now let me see how this looks on my end. I may unpin this because... Well, no, I'll leave it pinned because I'll show you what it looks like. Repin. It's too... Now, I think if you click on the gear icon, Artist Dora, you can make the... Let's do it together. Uh-oh. Oh, I had to restart. So because of that music problem I was having, I had to restart everything, restart the stream because it was really messed up. I don't know what happened. And sometimes you just have to restart your whole life to get back in the mix of it. And we did. Now let me see, what was I looking for? I have to put up... different screen here because I'm just a little confused about what's going on. We'll put up a chess screen because then I know exactly what it is. But we're not going to play chess. Don't worry, we're not playing chess. So cancel. Pull up the web browser. Pull up the web browser. Okay. Look for Chrome. I had to redo this whole thing yesterday because I'll get to that in a minute. Oh, this is getting, let me see. Let me try it again. That's what I'm looking for. I think that's it. Okay, so you can see we have Artist Dora still pinned to the top. And I need to make that a little bit smaller because we had a change in web browsers from last night till today. Why? I'll tell you why. Because our wonderful closed captioning only works using the Chrome browser and Microsoft Edge browser. And we've been using the Brave browser just because it's less intense, but Brave browser does not allow our closed captions to stream beautifully because the closed captions we have right now come through this microphone and get presented on the screen. So if I were playing music or playing a video with words, it would not get closed caption because it has to go through here. Remember when we did the Google Docs writing together in the first week or two of this show? I tried to use the Brave browser for that. It didn't work, so I had to use Chrome, and it worked beautifully. And it's so far working beautifully here, which I'm shocked. Not that the technology is working, but that I got it to work. That's what shocks me. Okay, so this is the right browser. I have a lot of browsers open because it's that kind of day. And I want to show you Shazam. Okay, so this is our live stream right now. I'm reloading it, so it will hopefully reload the live stream. We'll see if it happens. We're nervous. Oh, we see closed captioning. Oh boy. See, now I got to take a picture of this so I can send it to all of our deaf and hard of hearing friends and say, I finally did it. I got the closed captions to work. We'll see if it happens. Oh, here we go. We're nervous. Oh, we see closed captioning. I'm taking screenshots. That's the noise you hear of me. See, now I got to take a picture of this. Ding-donging in the background so I can send it to all of our... Oh, Water Store. Now I see it on my phone. It's time to I finally did it. I got the closed captions. I'll load Twitch on iPad. Oh, here we go. Work beautifully. We're nervous. Okay. Oh, we see. Now I'm talking to myself, and it's very annoying because I can't hear myself because I'm trying to talk to you, and it's a mirror within a mirror within a mirror within a mirror within a mirror. so I can send it to all of
Oh,
our
Water Store. Now I see it on my phone. It's time to
I finally did it. I
got the closed captions.
I'll load Twitch on iPad.
Oh, here we go.
Work beautifully.
Okay.
We're nervous.
So, we're going to do this to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Now
I'm talking to
captioning.
myself, and it's very annoying because I can't hear myself.
I'm still
because
talking
the
to
computer's
myself.
talking to
This
you.
is a
Now
mirror
I
within
got
a mirror within a mirror within a mirror.
Okay. Now, what I want to try to do... Oh, I can turn my mic off on this. Okay, so play. Wah. Okay, so if you're following along at home, you see Stream CC. That's the wonderful guy, one guy who has this project working. And I thought people had to pay to get the captions. Pay bits to get the captions. But my learning curve is about an hour and a half, so it looks like the captions are working. I don't know how or why. Maybe we have to pay later. I don't understand it. But I'm thrilled so far. So you click on Settings, Artist Dora. Thank you, Artist Dora. Oh, let's all compliments get pinned. Let's just put it that way. Is it pinning? Unpin. Pin. No, it's not pinning. I don't know why. We'll try to pin this one. Ah, it won't pin if there's an emoji. So all compliments must be non-emoji. So you go over here, you click on the gear icon, which is Settings. Click and see. And you can use smaller text. Ms. Dora. You can use medium text, large text. Use a dyslexia font. Gray out finish text, all uppercase text. I don't know why it keeps disappearing. Increase line count, decrease line count, reset position. Oh, it's just so fabulous. Enable square text box, and then advanced settings. I'm slightly nervous to click on advanced settings, but what can I do? I'm very cat-like. I'm curious and I have to know. Oh, captions with text. You can set the size, transparency, how you want it to look. Oh, I just love that. Well, now I have to close this because it's making me slightly ill watching myself go around in circles. Pause. Okay. Ooh, we'll get rid of that later. So, that's how you can... Hello again. That's how you can make these captions work for you specifically. And I'm just shocked and very proud that I was able to figure this out. Now, I'm not that smart, usually, so I'll show you what this looks like on my end. I have to turn this on my end in order to have the captions read my microphone. And I'm turning this on the website of the gentleman who has helped us get this working. So I'll show you right now. This is what it looks like. So quick start. So click to stop the captions. So there's a button there that I have to click to start the captions. And then it's through Chrome reading my microphone and everything that I say and captioning it and then sending it out to you the world over. So that's cool. It almost feels like a victory. It will be a victory once I figure out what's going on. No emojis noted. I love the emojis, especially they look so fantastic. I don't know why they aren't pinning. That's very interesting to me. It doesn't make any sense. So I guess I was under the understanding that if you wanted to have captions, you couldn't provide universal captions as the streamer unless maybe you paid a fee. I'm a little confused about it. Write myself a message transcript. And then I thought that the viewers, individual viewers, had to pay 500 bits to watch this live stream with captions. But so far, as I can tell, the captions are working and we didn't have to pay any bits. Which I'm thankful for, because bits are expensive on Twitch. Like if you want to buy 1,500 bits, that's $20. So like $6, $7 a day to watch closed captions, no one would ever pay that. Especially when it's $5 a month to watch and be a member of this stream. But maybe it's different translations. If we wanted this translated from English to German or something, maybe that's what costs 500 bits a day. I don't know. I wrote to the developer yesterday asking a series of questions, many of which I have now figured out on my own. But if I knew it was this easy from day one, I would have done it. Here's what confused me. You install the extension, you set it up through Twitch, and then you activate it on the streaming website. And I did all of that. And there were no captions. So as time goes on and you stream more and you become more familiar with the colloquialism of how things work and how things don't work, I figured out that the extension has to be not just installed, but activated as an overlay. And I believe you can only have one overlay, and I had an overlay, but I don't know what it did. It was from Streamlabs. So yesterday I got smart and said, well, now that makes sense. It would be an overlay, so people can click on it and get functions, and it's an overlay over the stream. That's what a captioning is an overlay. So I thought, oh boy, let me activate it. And then I figured out, it looks like it's activated. I tested my microphone, everything's working, but I don't know if it's closed captioning. I'm captioning here at home last night on my test, but I can't see it in my stream because you have to be live streaming to get the captions, which is very interesting to me. And as I understand it, these captions are ephemeral. Meaning, you read them and they're gone. I don't believe they're saved or recorded or transcriptized. And I know that they do not get sent or saved with the video on demand. Now, luckily, we have Facebook, YouTube. If we want to replay something later, we can put it there and people can watch and get captions once those shows fall off of our Twitch channel. So it's live or nothing if you want the captions. And I'm not sure why. Now, if we were using a different streaming software, we're using Streamlabs. If we were using regular OBS, and Streamlabs is a branch of OBS, which is called Streamlabs OBS, but they've now changed their name to just Streamlabs Desktop because they got in trouble with OBS. Then we could open up a WebSocket and a punch in the face and a zim-zam, and we'd have captions saved as part of our video on demand. But I can't figure that out. Because for now, we're using Streamlabs because we've prepaid for a year and we've in our second month, so it's going to be a while before we change anything because, as you can see, things break very quickly here. I have a wonderful talent for breaking things. And luckily, I'm 99% smart enough to put it back the way it was. It's called the last known good. If you are dealing with these complicated sort of technical things, go back to the last thing that worked and work your way back, which is what I did with the music this morning. The music was pinned here, and it's one song playing over and over and over at the loudest level. And I tried the other music services, they were all doing the same thing. So I just stopped the stream, restarted, here we are. Now, I don't know if this closed caption thing is just a test, because I can't see it on my Streamlabs screen. I can only see it when I look at my live screen. But it's still very exciting. I've learned in practicing that the closed captions does not like Boles.tv. So I have to spell it out like Jana Marie said. BOLES.tv. And sometimes it doesn't do a dot, it does a period. But I have to say period. And then it usually works. I'll try it one more time. BOLES period TV. There you go. It's a little confusing, but people who live with closed captions live with this kind of mistaken misery. And it's not the developer, it's not the technology, it's just the way things work. People are sloppy talkers, the microphone burps, things don't go as planned. And you're 10 minutes late starting the show because you have to restart everything. Well, another change we have is the name of Jana's show. I think this is change number 5. And finally I realized last night, why are we calling it all these other things when we know exactly what it is? Because it's our intro screen. So now it will be known as, when Jana's here, Fridays at 10:15, Hardcore ASL with Jana Sweeney. That's her thing. That's our website, hardcoreasl.com. And her weekend show at 11 a.m. Eastern is Hardcore ASL with Jana Sweeney, plus chat disability. So it's not just limited, where you can come in and ask her questions. Well, this is very exciting. I can't believe the captions are working. I hope that I'm not under like a free trial or something that's going to disappear tomorrow. We're going to have to pay $1 million to get our captions back. I'm shocked that it's working. I don't know how it's working. I don't know why it's working. Everything that I thought was going to happen today didn't happen, because I wasn't sure the captions were going to work. And Jana Marie and I had a long planning session this morning. Let's try this, let's try that. Here's an overlay. Click on this, but don't click on it because I might have to pay for bits first. And on and on and on. So these live captions are very exciting. Big step. Better late than never, isn't that the saying? Could have had this from day one, and I tried, but I didn't understand the theory and the idea of an overlay. And a lot of these plugins and extensions sort of assume that you know a little bit more than you really do. Especially if you're a new streamer. You need someone to really just to kind of say, okay, do this and do that and do this. But if you don't know how to do that, then you can't do this. Hello! Thank you so much for the follow, Gamer22. So this whole conversation about closed captioning and accessibility leads me to talk just a little bit more about the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's about 30 years old now or so. And some people think it's wonderful, and other people think it's kind of a miserable failure. And I understand that. And we're going to discuss that right now. And one thing that I like about these captions is that the deaf and the disabled, the people who don't really usually have a good job or any money, relatively speaking, ratio speaking, don't have to pay to get these captions. And the onus is usually on the streamer or the business to pay for the closed captions. And so far, we're not paying. I don't know if that will last. And it's disappointing that we don't just get captions. Facebook, YouTube give captions as part of their accessibility program. Twitch, right now, does not universally. They do very narrowly for their own broadcasts, but not for the live streamers. And that's disappointing because Twitch is owned by Amazon, the richest company in the entire universe, the known universe. So let's talk just a little bit about the ADA and how things change without really changing. And they're supposed to be good, and they use the law to try to enforce a morality and a moral behavior. So recently, a federal judge for the Southern District of New York recently ruled that the city of New York violated the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, by failing to install audible devices at crosswalks. Now, you've heard those, right? I find them very confusing, but I'm not blind, and I don't rely on them to cross the street. But I do find it sort of terrifying when I'm at a 5-corner intersection, which we have one here in Jersey City. It's called 5 Corners. And you push the button, and it tells you it's okay to walk. Now, I guess the blind must be very well trained to know go this way or go this way or go that way, because you have 5 different choices. I don't know how they know which direction they're saying is safe. Maybe it's the direction of where the button is. And these devices tell the blind and visually impaired people when it is safe to cross the streets. But the city had installed them in only 3.4% of intersections. The federal district court concluded that the city's conduct amounted to an illegal denial of services and benefits by a public entity in violation of Title II of the ADA. The decision comes 30 years after Congress enacted the ADA. If the court's interpretation of the ADA is sound, then New York City, and likely cities across the country, have been allowed to flout the ADA for more than 3 decades, with courts just now enforcing its requirements. What took so long? Compliance with the ADA's accessibility requirements can never be taken for granted. The implementation of measures to ensure compliance with accessibility rules has been subpar. And examples of inaccessible spaces, both of state and local government and privately owned, abound. The enforcement of the ADA's accessibility mandates has been left to individual litigants, typically after construction has been completed, a mechanism often portrayed in the media as fraudulent and abusive drive-by litigation. And if you do a search on failure of ADA on the internet, you're going to get a lot of really nasty conservative articles blaming the disabled people for all these expenses that these businesses have to use and employ to meet the ADA. Blame the victim. Nearly every day adds a new chapter to the story of this struggle under the ADA. On the day after the decision on audible traffic devices in New York City, the Supreme Court ruled on another case involving the rights of people with disabilities on streets and sidewalks. This time siding with Alabama state officials who stopped an effort to allow people with disabilities to avoid the risks associated with COVID-19. So this is very recent. And vote safely from their cars by handing their ballots, their voting ballots, to election officials. Curbside voting seemed a perfect example of a reasonable accommodation. That is language under the ADA. It's a core concept in the ADA. Yet, the court overturned the decisions of 2 lower federal courts without explanation, allowing Alabama to ban curbside voting. Dissenting with 2 other justices, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, urged the court not to stand in the way of local election officials who were willing to help vulnerable voters fulfill their civic duty. The court's ruling was an unfortunate note in a campaign during which, at least on the Democratic side, disability rights policy was prominently discussed, with all the major candidates, including President-elect Joe Biden, presenting plans to realize the promise of the ADA made 3 decades ago. With the COVID-19 pandemic continuing to ravage the United States, posing particular challenges for some people with disabilities, the Biden administration will take center stage as the struggle over the ADA reaches its fourth decade. Sorry, I'm getting one more screenshot of this lovely, beautiful closed captioning that we have today. It's our moment, I suppose, in ADA history, as we are not only joining in, but complying with the spirit and the mandate of the ADA. And that leads me to this greater conversation that we've shared here together before. This is nothing new. Where you have people and institutions who claim to be ADA compliant, to have offices of equitability and fairness and inclusion, when in reality, they don't mean it at all. When in reality, instead of having to deal with a disabled person or a deaf person, they will go out of their way to not serve them. Be it a doctor's office who doesn't want to find an interpreter, be it a university who doesn't think that a sign language program needs a deaf person to be involved with leading the program. Oh, the hearing people can do it. Oh, my best friend when I was 5 years old was a deaf person. So that qualifies me to be an advisor and a consultant to any ASL program or group of students. That's actually happened. That's actually going on right now today. And that institution thinks that they're on top of the world and that they're woke and that they're inclusive. And it's all a lie and a big joke because they've been made aware of it and they don't care. It's always about money. Follow the money trail. And when there's no money, you know who's going to get hit first? Well, the blind don't really need to cross all the streets. Well, the disabled can't get out of their car, but it doesn't mean that they can vote from a curbside. And in many ways, many of the gains we had 15 years ago under the ADA, where companies and people and businesses were getting sued, have all been washed away. And they've been washed away by indifference. Oh, we've already done that. Oh, we already have 3.4% of our crossing lights enabled with voice to help the blind cross the street. Now, we understand there are 90% of other streets that the blind cannot safely cross, but 3.4% is a lot. Not really. And if you talk to deaf people, they go through this every day. We have a deaf friend who had a problem with her back and called her doctor's office and said, I'm coming in, I have an emergency. They said, okay, we'll see you. And they said, by the way, I need an interpreter. They said, well, it's going to take a couple of weeks to get an interpreter. And that's how they put you off. They don't want to see you. 2 weeks, another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. Oh, your back is fine now. So, every day's a fight. You have to threaten. You have to try to convince. And you quickly learn that being warm and friendly doesn't really get you anywhere. Because people walk over you. They stomp on your rights. They do what's best for them, not what's best for the disabled. And I guess that's the crowning achievement of the new modern world we live in, where the able-bodied and the majority do not want to give up their force of rule over the disadvantaged and the disabled. And with that, my friend, we're going to take a brief blood pressure break. I will see you momentarily.